Good evening, and thank you all for coming out tonight. It's exciting to be here. And I will say, Linus, thank you very much for the invitation and the tremendous work. Linus and his team have put together an amazing series of upcoming programs, this one being really the launch program for recruitment. I want to thank SMU for giving us this absolutely fantastic space. It's just wonderful. It's one of the key things that all of our chapters need is really support around the infrastructure so we can bring people together in a wonderful venue. So start off by saying thank you to these great folks, and for those of you that are interested in getting involved in the Enterprise Forum, we're going to tell you a lot about it tonight, and I think we're going to be able to persuade you that this is a magnificent organization that can have a great impact on you personally and on your professional life. Many years ago, Desmond Tutu said that if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think that's the value of building a network. Whether you're a student or you're somebody in the mid-career, you're thinking about growing and expanding your career, building your Rolodex, building and expanding your network, your peers, your influence, those people you have contacts with is absolutely critical. And it's one of the greatest achievements, I think, of many people that have very satisfactory lives. They're very satisfied. They've succeeded at a whole new level. And it's because they've surrounded themselves with great people. The MIT Enterprise Forum is one of these great organizations that works very hard to link great people together, whether it be entrepreneurs, researchers, service providers like accountants, lawyers, people that are in the venture capital field, and others. So the MIT Enterprise Forum is a wonderful foundation for this. So tonight, I'm going to give you just a little bit of an overview of the Enterprise Forum, tell you a little bit about some of the great programs that have happened over the past year, a little bit about our programs in general, and then talk to you a little bit about entrepreneurship at MIT, and then we'll open up to Q&A when all of us come up to the front a little bit later. So let me start with just giving you the agenda. So I'm going to cover some key things that really hopefully will provide you with a foundation of knowledge around the MIT Enterprise Forum. Just a quick show of hands, how many people are familiar with or heard of the MIT Enterprise Forum before this event? Excellent. Good. So the word is spreading. So next time I ask that with the same audience, there'll be even more hands, obviously, and there'll be more people in the empty seats that will be filled up. So I think part of the value of this network is expanding the reach of the Enterprise Forum on a global basis. If you're part of a networking organization, you're part of a group of entrepreneurs or venture capitalists or people within your profession, whether you're in the field of software, biotech, or others, if you only communicate and talk to the people within your sphere, you only talk to those individuals that are closest to your industry, the people that you work with on a regular basis, you have no power of the network. You only have those people within arm's length. I truly believe the power of the network is thinking far outside of the box. Some of the greatest people I know that are entrepreneurs, they come from diverse backgrounds. They come from the telecom industry, but they're fully aware of what's happening in the biotech space. They come from the publishing industry, but they understand real estate. The reason they do is because they built this network. So I think the network itself is absolutely critical, and the Enterprise Forum itself is about 30 chapters large right now. So you can imagine, as you sit here in Singapore, you become part of an organization called the Enterprise Forum of Singapore. And instantly, you are part of a network of 30 chapters in as far away as pretty much every major state and city within the United States. We've got chapters in London. We have a new chapter forming in Madrid. Pakistan is one of our most successful chapters that formed very early last year. We have a major chapter initiative in the Pan-Arab region that covers multiple countries. It runs one of the largest businessman competitions in the world. So think of the power of having those people in all of those industries in your network. So to put some real numbers around, the MIT Enterprise Forum on a global basis, last year we did about 400 events globally. Total number of attendees at all those events was about 32,000 attendees at each of those. Active volunteers, these are actually the people we're counting. These are the people that are at each individual chapter, whether they hold officer level positions at the chapter, so they might be in charge of membership, sponsorship, and so forth, or they actually are volunteering to put together the events. We have nearly 1,000 volunteers. Panels and speakers are about the same number. So as we sort of look around the world and we bring in the best and the brightest, we run these fantastic programs on cloud computing, wireless technology, publications, and publishing. We partner with organizations like the MIT Technology Review and others. So you can imagine we're able to pull in fantastic speakers. These people become the role models and the mentors for the entrepreneurs. Overall constituents, meaning the total people in our network, is just about 90,000. And the total chapters, as both Linus and I mentioned, is about 30. Each year we put on a couple of really large events, and we have some fantastic partners. Last year, we partnered with a couple of great organizations, one of which was the Global Entrepreneur Week, which is literally a global event with about 200,000 attendees that participate all around the world in entrepreneurial activities, education, and so forth. And then later in the year, in November, we were invited by NASDAQ, who happens to be one of our educational sponsors. NASDAQ invited us to ring the closing bell on November 6th of last year. It was a wonderful privilege. We brought many of the people from our staff in Boston. In this picture is myself and Ken Wang, who is the president of the MIT Alumni Association Board. So the network continues to expand, and what you really hear from me right now is the influence of the organization is really growing as we become part of global groups like NASDAQ and others. From the standpoint of quality of speakers, we have speakers that are coming in to us who are famous book publishers, authors of all kinds, people that are leaders in technology, Nobel Prize winners and others who become part of our network. They join our boards, they join our panels, and they give great keynote presentations. We're actually building a wonderful program right now from MIT and the Alumni Association where we're beginning to capture the movement and the calendaring of many of the leaders within the MIT community. So what we're doing is basically allowing all of the investigators within the university, some of the key professors, the leaders in particular fields, to voluntarily share their traveling events and schedules with us. Because it's so valuable. Can you imagine that, if you know that one of the leaders, Susan Hockfield, president of the university, or Bob Langer, one of the leading scientists in the United States who started over a dozen biotechnology companies, both public and private, he's coming through the city, perhaps he's coming here to give a presentation, attend a conference. We're able to link him with the people in the MIT Alumni Club and also the people at the MIT Enterprise Forum. So it's a very valuable and new program. So these are examples of some of those great speakers. One other thing that we began doing many years ago was an annual chapter leadership conference. And this is a program where we invite all of the leaders of each of the chapters to come to a particular location. We move it around every year. This year happens to be in Cambridge, Massachusetts, near MIT. Last year was in Florida. Prior to that was in California. And the chapter leadership conference brings the leaders from the chapters together to identify best practices, what is happening in that local chapter, because each chapter is different. If I take a look at some of our chapters, they vary so dramatically. Chapters like in Chicago as an example. Chicago is a city where it's a lot of old family businesses, a lot of infrastructure type businesses, real estate, mining, lots of companies that are in the hardware field. And you take a look at our Silicon Valley chapter, which is one of our largest, and you've got some of the coolest, most high-tech companies out there that are part of that chapter. So again, the network itself is very powerful, but at a local level, we really do care about what is important to the individual chapter. Each chapter's leadership makes decisions around what the programs are, who the speakers are, and so forth. And the annual chapter leadership conference allows them to come in and actually figure out what else is happening on a global basis around sponsorship, volunteer recruitment, who are the best speakers to recruit. This year we're actually expanding chapter leadership conference and doing what's called the Better World Conference as well, which is a 2.5-day program at the MIT Media Lab. One of the critical components of all of this, as you can imagine, as you heard from myself and Linus, is that we really emphasize a proactive personal contact. This isn't about joining an organization, getting a little card in the mail, and you don't really ever hear from them again. This is about engagement. It's about actively engaging with the people you're sitting next to, the people you meet at these networking events, talking to the investors, the people that you normally don't see on a daily basis. And that's very, very important. We help people engage with serial entrepreneurs to build mentor programs and expand their network, introduce people to great companies. When we have new companies starting, they can reach into many of the leadership at the chapters. They can say, hey, listen, who do I talk to at IBM that's really interested in this area? Who is it at Genzyme or Glaxo that you guys might know? We're able to tap into that network. It's very, very powerful. And of course, funding is a critical component of all entrepreneurship. So being able to tap into the venture community and into the angel investment community and others is absolutely critical.